When was the last time you looked in the mirror and asked, what do I truly want for myself? Not for your family, not for your friends, not for society, for you. Let me tell you something that will shake you. Your life changes the moment you stop living for validation and start living for your vision. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and asked, what do I truly want for myself? Not for your family, not for your friends, not for society, for you. Because here's the truth, most of us live our lives drowning in noise. Everyone has an opinion, everyone has a demand. And somewhere between the obligations and the expectations, we forget the most important voice of all, our own. Your power begins the moment you reclaim that voice, the moment you realize that focusing on yourself is not selfish, it's survival. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. It's not about shutting the world out, it's about building the strength to rise above it. Protecting your energy is the very first step. Think about it. Your energy is your currency, your lifeline, your fuel. Every conversation, every commitment, every distraction either deposits into your energy bank or drains it. And here's what most people don't realize. You cannot pour into others from an empty cup. If you keep saying yes to everything, you are unconsciously saying no to yourself, no to your dreams, no to your priorities, no to your own well-being. Energy is not infinite. If you spend it recklessly, you will find yourself exhausted, resentful, and lost. But when you learn to protect it, you step into clarity, strength, and freedom. That protection starts with boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They are the clear signals you send to the world about what you allow and what you do not. When you don't set boundaries, people will consume your time, your peace, and your spirit. Not out of malice, but because you didn't tell them where the line was. Boundaries are how you teach others to respect you. They are how you teach yourself to prioritize you. And when you do it, something powerful happens. You stop running on fumes, and you start operating from abundance. You stop being pulled in 100 directions, and you start moving deliberately toward what matters. Now, let's talk about distractions. The world we live in is designed to steal your attention. Notifications, trends, constant comparisons. They are thieves of focus. Every time you allow yourself to be consumed by them, you're handing over pieces of your destiny. Protecting your energy means becoming ruthless with your attention. It means asking yourself daily, does this add to my life or does it take from it? If it adds, lean in. If it takes, let it go. Because what you give your attention to grows. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your entire life watering someone else's garden while your own dreams wither. Protecting your energy also means protecting your environment. The people around you either elevate you or drain you. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Those who always bring negativity, those who always have drama, those who always want more than they give. And then there are those rare ones. The ones who inspire you, who challenge you, who remind you of your worth. Choose wisely. Your circle is either your cage or your wings. And you cannot soar if you are chained to people who thrive on your stagnation. Protecting your energy means having the courage to walk away from those who deplete you, even if they've been in your life for years. And finally, protecting your energy means protecting your self-talk. What you say to yourself when no one is listening shapes your reality more than anything else. If you are constantly telling yourself you're not enough, that you're behind, that you don't measure up, you are draining yourself from the inside out. Protecting your energy means feeding yourself with truth. And truth is this: you are capable, you are worthy, and you have every right to take up space in this world. Energy protection is not only about what comes in from the outside, but also what flows from within. When you master both, you step into a power that is unshakable. So hear me clearly. Protecting your energy is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built. You cannot chase your goals. You cannot build your vision. You cannot rise to your full potential if you are constantly drained, distracted, and depleted. The moment you decide to guard your mind, your time, and your peace like they are sacred treasures is the moment your life begins to transform. Because energy, once preserved and directed, becomes unstoppable force. And that force, it is the engine of your destiny. Protect your energy, protect your life. The world doesn't need a weaker, watered-down version of you. It needs the fullest, fiercest, most powerful version of you, and that only shows up when you choose yourself first. Comparison is poison. It's silent, it's subtle, and it seeps into your life without warning. You pick up your phone, you scroll for just a few minutes, and suddenly you feel behind. You see someone with the perfect body, the perfect career, the perfect life, and you start questioning your own worth. You begin to shrink, not because you lack ability, but because you've allowed yourself to measure your life against a highlight reel that was never meant to be yours. This is how comparison kills. Slowly, invisibly, by making you forget that your journey was never supposed to look like anyone else's. You see, comparison thrives on one lie, that someone else's success somehow diminishes your own, that if they have more, you must have less, that if they rise, you fall. But life doesn't work that way. Their lane is not your lane. Their path is not your path. And if you keep looking sideways, you'll trip in your own race. You cannot win your marathon by staring at another runner. You win by focusing on your stride, your pace, your strength. The moment you stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline is the moment you free yourself to move at the speed of your own destiny. And let's be honest, comparison is not just about envy. Sometimes it disguises itself as motivation. You see someone further ahead and think, I should be there by now. But instead of fueling you, it drains you, because the truth is, you're trying to fight a battle that was never meant for you. Your life has its own rhythm. There are lessons you're meant to learn, detours you're meant to take, timing you're meant to honor. What looks like delay is often preparation. What looks like failure is often foundation. But if you compare your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20, you'll miss the beauty of the story being written for you. The real danger of comparison is that it blinds you to your own gifts. While you're staring at someone else's shine, you're dimming your own. You forget the talents you have, the strengths you've built, the obstacles you've already overcome. And make no mistake, your journey holds power. You may not see it while you're in it, but every setback has given you resilience. Every hardship has taught you courage. Every small win has built you into someone far stronger than you realize. When you compare, you ignore the richness of your own story. You silence the uniqueness that only you can bring into the world. So how do you break free? You turn comparison into celebration. Instead of resenting someone else's success, honor it. Use it as proof that greatness is possible, that dreams are achievable, that doors can be opened. And then remind yourself that just because it's possible for them doesn't mean it's impossible for you. Celebrate others, but stay committed to your lane. Focus less on competing and more on creating. Focus less on being better than someone else and more on being better than you were yesterday. When you do that, comparison loses its grip because your measure of success is no longer external. It becomes deeply personal. And let's end with this truth. Comparison doesn't just steal joy, it steals time. Every second you waste envying someone else is a second you could have invested in yourself. Every thought you spend wishing you had their life is a thought you could have used building your own. Comparison is distraction in disguise. It keeps you so busy watching others that you forget to live fully. But when you shift your gaze back to your own path, when you stop competing and start creating, you unlock the kind of power no one can replicate. Because there is only one you, and that's your greatest advantage. Comparison is poison, but focus is medicine. Stop looking sideways. Start looking inward. Your lane is waiting, your time is coming, and your shine, your unshakable, undeniable, unstoppable shine will be brighter the moment you stop dimming it with someone else's light. Discipline is the difference between wishing and winning. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants fulfillment. Everybody wants freedom. But few are willing to do what it takes consistently. And that's what separates the dreamers from the doers. You can have talent, you can have ideas, you can even have opportunity. But without discipline, you will watch it all slip away. Because discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. It's not glamorous, it's not Instagram worthy, but it is the foundation of every extraordinary life. Without it, potential is wasted. With it, even ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's easy to be motivated when you're inspired, when you're excited, when everything is going your way. But what happens on the days you're tired, on the days you're discouraged, on the days when results feel invisible? That's when discipline becomes your best friend, because it doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you're committed to. Motivation may spark you, but discipline sustains you. And if you truly want to rise, you cannot be a slave to your moods. You must be loyal to your commitments. Let's face it, excuses are easier than effort. It's easier to say, I'll start tomorrow, than to start today. It's easier to blame circumstances than to take responsibility. But excuses don't build legacies. Excuses don't put food on the table. Excuses don't change lives. Effort does. Consistent, relentless effort. And here's the thing. Discipline is not punishment. It's empowerment. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you prove that you are reliable, that you are strong, that you can be trusted with your own destiny. And that builds a confidence no external validation can give you. The greatest misconception is that discipline restricts you. No, discipline liberates you. It frees you from chaos. It frees you from regret. It frees you from living a life controlled by impulses. Think about it, the person who refuses discipline is not free. They are trapped by procrastination, by inconsistency, by self-sabotage. But the disciplined person, they are free because they've trained themselves to take control of their actions, their time, and their future. Discipline is not about saying no to life. It's about saying yes to the life you actually want, instead of settling for the one you drift into by default. And don't confuse discipline with perfection. Discipline doesn't mean you never fall. It means you rise every single time you do. It means you show up even when it's messy, even when it's hard, even when it doesn't look like progress yet. Discipline is built in small choices, day after day. Waking up a little earlier, saying no to distractions, doing one more rep, writing one more page, calling one more prospect. Small acts compound into massive results. And when you look back months or years later, you realize that those tiny moments of discipline created a life you once thought was impossible. So hear me clearly. Discipline is not optional if you want to step into greatness. Talent may open doors, but discipline keeps you in the room. Hard work may be uncomfortable, but regret is unbearable. And the truth is, you don't have to feel ready to begin. You just have to begin. Because once you build momentum, discipline becomes who you are, not just what you do. It becomes your standard. And when that happens, nothing and no one can take away the life you've built with your own hands, your own sweat, your own persistence. Discipline is not your enemy. It is your greatest ally. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Start choosing consistency over comfort, effort over excuse, progress over perfection. Because in the end, discipline doesn't just create results. It creates the person capable of holding those results. And that person is unstoppable. Investing in growth instead of approval is the greatest shift you will ever make in your life. Too many people waste their entire existence chasing validation, trying to be liked, trying to be accepted, trying to meet expectations that were never theirs to begin with. They buy things they don't need to impress people they don't even respect. They contort themselves into versions that aren't authentic just to earn applause, that fades the moment they turn their back. And while they're busy performing for approval, they're neglecting the one thing that truly matters, their growth. Growth is the only investment that compounds in value every single day of your life. Approval is fleeting. Growth is permanent. The trap of approval is dangerous because it feels rewarding in the short term. You get a compliment, you get recognition, you get a pat on the back, and for a moment it feels like validation fills you. But then it fades, and you need more. It's a cycle that leaves you addicted to outside opinions, unable to stand on your own. When you build your life on approval, your foundation is weak. Because the moment people disapprove, you crumble. But when you build your life on growth, you stand unshakable. Because growth isn't about being seen. It's about becoming. It's about evolving into a version of yourself that doesn't need applause to know its worth. Investing in growth means choosing to put your time, energy, and resources into things that expand you. It's buying books instead of buying status symbols. It's seeking mentors instead of chasing followers. It's developing skills that make you valuable, instead of pretending you're valuable because others said so. Growth doesn't scream for attention. It quietly builds a strength that cannot be ignored. And here's the truth: growth doesn't always look glamorous. Sometimes it looks like late nights studying. Sometimes it looks like lonely mornings training. Sometimes it looks like saying no to distractions that everyone else is indulging in. Growth requires sacrifice, but every sacrifice is a seed, and every seed eventually bears fruit. Approval, on the other hand, costs you more than it gives. When you live for approval, you abandon your authenticity. You silence your opinions. You dilute your voice. You become so busy pleasing others that you forget who you are. And here's the most painful part: approval is never guaranteed. No matter how much you bend, no matter how much you sacrifice, no matter how hard you try, someone will still disapprove. Someone will still criticize. Someone will still find fault. And if your self-worth is tied to their opinion, you will forever lie enslaved to their moods. But when your worth is tied to your growth, no criticism can shake you. Because you know you're not defined by approval. You're defined by progress. When you invest in growth, you create independence. You no longer need to chase external applause because your results speak louder than approval ever could. Your growth becomes your confidence. Your progress becomes your validation. You walk into rooms and no longer wonder, do they like me? Instead, you ask, am I adding value? Am I evolving? Am I aligned with my purpose? Approval fades. Growth multiplies. Approval impresses. Growth transforms. Approval ties you to the past. Growth propels you into the future. And when you choose growth consistently, you discover that approval begins to follow you anyway. But now it doesn't control you. It's just a byproduct, not the purpose. So let this be your reminder. Approval is not currency, growth is. Stop bankrupting your potential for the temporary applause of others. Stop shrinking your vision just so people clap for what's comfortable. Start building yourself into someone so strong, so skilled, so unshakable that approval becomes irrelevant. Because the truth is, when you grow, you win, whether they cheer for you or not. And that win is yours forever. Approval is borrowed. Growth is owned. Stop living for applause that fades and start investing in progress that lasts. Because the world doesn't remember who fit in. It remembers who evolved, who expanded, who outgrew every limitation and built a life that needed no permission. Success means nothing if you're building it on broken pieces. Too many people chase achievements, chase recognition, chase milestones, but deep down, they're carrying wounds they refuse to face. They think if they keep moving fast enough, if they stay busy enough, if they achieve big enough, their pain will disappear. But pain doesn't vanish. It waits. It hides under the surface, shaping your choices, clouding your judgment, and holding you back in ways you don't even realize. Healing isn't optional. It's essential. Because when you don't heal, you hustle from a place of emptiness, and emptiness will never create fulfillment. Healing before you hustle means doing the hard inner work. It means confronting your past instead of running from it. It means acknowledging the scars you've tried to ignore, the mistakes you've tried to bury, the heartbreaks you've tried to numb. Too many people treat healing like weakness, as if facing your pain somehow makes you fragile. But the truth is, denial is what weakens you. Pretending you're fine when you're not drains your energy and chains you to the very wounds you want to escape. True strength is looking your pain in the eye and saying, "You will not define me. You will refine me." The reason healing matters is because unhealed pain always leaks. If you don't heal, you bleed on people who didn't cut you. You carry resentment into relationships that deserve love. You bring insecurity into opportunities that deserve confidence. You sabotage the very blessings you prayed for because you haven't dealt with the brokenness within you. Hustling without healing means you're constantly trying to prove something instead of truly building something. And when your drive is fueled by wounds instead of wisdom, burnout is inevitable. Healing shifts your hustle from desperation to inspiration, from survival to expansion. Healing also gives you clarity. When you're weighed down by pain, your vision is cloudy. You make decisions based on fear, on avoidance, on insecurity. But when you heal, your perspective changes. You're no longer chasing success to fill a void. You're chasing it because you're ready to create, to contribute, to lead. Healing allows you to step into opportunities with confidence instead of doubt. It allows you to build relationships from love instead of fear. It allows you to dream bigger because you're no longer carrying the weight of yesterday. Healing clears the fog so you can finally see the road ahead. And make no mistake, healing is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong process. Just like you exercise your body consistently, you must also nurture your mind and soul consistently. Some wounds take time. Some require patience, forgiveness, self-reflection, or even professional help. There's no shame in seeking help. The real shame is pretending you don't need it. Healing is not about erasing the past. It's about transforming it. Your scars will always be part of your story, but they don't have to control the ending. When you heal, your scars become proof of your survival, proof of your strength, proof that you are capable of overcoming. So remember this. Healing before you hustle doesn't mean slowing down your success. It means securing it. Because success without healing is shallow, temporary, and fragile. But success built on healing is deep, lasting, and powerful. When you do the inner work, you rise unshakable. You create not from pain, but from power. You lead not from fear, but from purpose. And you inspire not because you're perfect, but because you turned your wounds into wisdom and your scars into strength. Heal before you hustle, because when your foundation is whole, your hustle becomes unstoppable. Pain may shape you, but it does not have to define you. Heal, rise, and then build. Because the strongest empires are built by those who turn their brokenness into brilliance. Owning your worth is one of the most powerful choices you will ever make. Too often, people wait for permission. Permission to dream, permission to speak, permission to rise. They look for validation from bosses, from partners, from society, as if someone else has the authority to tell them what they're capable of. But here's the truth. No one is coming to hand you confidence. No one is coming to crown you worthy. Worth is not given. Worth is claimed. And the day you stop waiting for someone else to affirm your value is the day you unlock a freedom that can never be taken away. Owning your worth begins with belief. If you don't believe in yourself, every opportunity will feel like a threat instead of a chance. You'll walk into rooms and shrink, doubting your place at the table. You'll settle for less than you deserve because you've convinced yourself that less is all you're worthy of. But belief is everything. Belief is the soil from which every dream grows. When you truly own your worth, you stop begging for a seat and start building your own table. You stop dimming your light to make others comfortable and start shining unapologetically, knowing that your brilliance doesn't diminish anyone else. It simply illuminates the path for others to rise too. The danger of not owning your worth is that life will always reflect the standard you set for yourself. If you believe you are unworthy, you will attract people and opportunities that treat you that way. If you constantly play small, the world will oblige and keep you there. But when you raise your standard, when you declare through your actions, "This is what I deserve," everything around you begins to shift. The people who undervalue you fall away. The opportunities that align with your greatness begin to appear. Because the universe responds to the energy you radiate. And when you radiate worth, you draw in abundance. Owning your worth also means speaking your truth, even when your voice shakes. It means asking for the raise, instead of silently resenting your paycheck. It means demanding respect instead of tolerating disrespect. It means walking away from spaces that don't see your value instead of begging to belong. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it will challenge you. Yes, some people will call you too much when you finally stop being too little. But here's the reality. You cannot rise if you're always trying to stay likable. You were not born to please. You were born to lead. And leaders own their worth. But don't mistake owning your worth for arrogance. Arrogance is insecurity in disguise. It's loud, it's shallow, it's dependent on tearing others down. Worth is quiet, steady, unshakable. When you own your worth, you don't need to prove yourself. You simply are yourself. You don't compete, you contribute. You don't beg for attention, you command respect. And that kind of power doesn't come from ego, it comes from alignment. It comes from knowing that your value is not tied to your job, your title, your appearance, or anyone else's opinion. Your worth is inherent. It's non-negotiable. It's yours from the moment you exist. So here's the challenge: stop waiting for permission to rise. Stop underestimating yourself because others couldn't see your brilliance. Stop settling for crumbs when you deserve the feast. The world doesn't need a smaller version of you. It needs the full force of who you are. The moment you decide to own your worth, you break free from limitations that were never yours to carry. You stop playing defense and start playing offense. You step into rooms with power. You walk through life with purpose. And you leave behind a legacy of someone who didn't just survive. They owned their worth and thrived. Owning your worth is not optional. It is essential. You don't wait for someone else to validate you. You declare it. You live it. You embody it. Because when you own your worth, you don't just change your life. You give others permission to rise and own theirs too. That is the power of choosing yourself. That is the power of becoming unstoppable.